Hey, it's that time of the year. It is soup season, and I'm really excited to show you my family's vegetable beef soup recipe. So I have a big pot here that I just put some avocado oil in, and I put about 2 tablespoons of this avocado oil. There you go. And I am gonna put about 2 pounds, maybe I have a little more here, but the recipe calls for 2 pounds of stew meat. And so I'm just gonna dump it right into a hot pan, and it should kind of start to sizzle as you put it in. And right away, I'm just gonna add some salt and pepper to this. And we're gonna let this just kind of spread it out in the pan. I'm gonna put this down so you can see a little better. There you go, a little better. Here, I'll show you like that. All right, so I'm just gonna be kind of moving this around. I'm gonna let it sit for a few minutes so that it can really brown up. And then I'm just gonna let it brown on all sides. And once it does that, I will add in some veggies. Here's what it's looking like about halfway through the browning process. It doesn't take long at all if your pan has some good heat going. I'm at about a medium to medium high heat. And I'm just gonna keep kind of stirring it around. It's got some really good color. And then I will be adding in the veggies. So the veggies are about a little less than a half a head of cabbage and an onion. I'm gonna add in some celery. And we'll get that going in just a moment. The beef is browning away, so I'm gonna go ahead and prep some of the veggies. So I have about 3 stalks of celery that I cut in half each vertically, and then I'm just going to dice these up. I don't want tiny, tiny pieces, but I don't really want big, big chunks either. You know, you want it to be something that can fit on a spoon when someone's eating their soup. All right. So got the celery, and then I'm gonna do my onion, and then you're gonna notice here I have about little under a half a head of cabbage. That I think is just the most flavorful, probably my favorite part of the stew. If you absolutely don't like cabbage, you could leave it out, but I honestly believe it is like what separates the soup from other ones. So I don't put in, you know, a lot of crazy vegetables. I keep it pretty simple. We will be, later in the cooking process, we're gonna add carrots and potatoes to it. And, but you know, my family doesn't really like a lot of stuff going on in there, so we keep it pretty basic. All right, so I'm just gonna continue to chop up this whole mess of onions. Everybody has their own kind of way of chopping onions. Mine is really just kind of helter-skelter. This one's been in the refrigerator actually, so the smell is not bad. But normally when I am chopping onions, my eyes are watering like crazy. Fun fact, an onion might be my least favorite thing to cook with because I don't like the smell of it. I don't mind cooked onion, but I just don't like the smell of raw onion. All right, I'm gonna check in on the stew meat and we'll see how it's going. Okay, so now I'm going into the cabbage. Again, this is just a little less than half a head of cabbage. So I cut it all that way, and then I just turn it, and I cut it this way. Of course, just like anything else, it really does cook down once you put it in the pot. Gives it awesome flavor. Okay, so this is all ready to go into the pot. Let me show you how that looks. I did go ahead and drain off some of the liquid out of the stew meat, but I left some of it in, and I'm just gonna add in all the veggies. All right, let's see what all is spilled here. Throw that in. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little more salt and pepper to this. I'm gonna give this a good stir, and then we will be adding the liquid to the soup. So as far as the liquid goes, we use V8 juice as our base. It has an awesome flavor. It turns out great every time. It's super easy to use. So we just use the V8 juice. And you can use, if you're watching your sodium, feel free to use the low sodium version. It's not too terrible on this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that right in. So I'm using the entire bottle of that, and I'm also gonna add some water to this as well. I don't have exact measurements. You know how family recipes are. You don't ever have exact measurements, but I just add enough water till I get it to a consistency that I like. And I could always add more in later. You know, with the potatoes and with the carrots, that'll take up a little more room as well. So this is looking really good. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to lower the heat a little bit to medium low. I'm gonna put the lid on this and I'm just gonna let it cook for probably, an hour to 2 hours. And I will check in with you and let you know how long that time was. Lowered the heat, put the lid on. So this was bubbling a little more intensely before when I took the lid off. And so you want it to be simmering pretty decently for, like I said, an hour and a half to 2 hours. And now I'm just gonna add slide these veggies on in. So these are just the carrots and the potatoes. Just give this a little stir. And then again, hitting it with the salt and the pepper. I go light on salt because I just always am nervous I'm gonna make it too salty. So I don't really ever measure it out. I just kind of do it by feel. I just kind of add it in a little at a time. You can always add in more at the end. So I'm gonna put the lid back on. I'm gonna let this go for another hour or so and then just kind of taste the veggies and see how they're doing.